Kingdom Hearts. This was a series that rose to prominence in the 2000s, but as a kid of the 2000s, I didn't really play these games growing up. Like, I had a big cousin who had Kingdom Hearts 2 on his PlayStation 2, but I never owned any of these games myself. But that changed in what's probably the most hectic year in all of our lives, 2020. I'm not going to explain why that year was crazy. We all know why, and there's no need to go back and talk about it. But during that time, I was in high school. And if you were in high school during that period, you know there was a lot of time where you weren't really doing anything. So as a lifelong lover of video games, I decided to use this time to broaden my horizon. And with so much free time, I found myself playing a lot of story-based games. I have a really good group of friends, and I hope all of you do as well. But one day in May or April, we're in a Discord and I heard some of my friends talking about Kingdom Hearts. Because I hadn't really played Kingdom Hearts, I couldn't participate in my friends' conversations, but it sounded interesting. They were talking about theories, and that's one of my favorite aspects of watching cartoons, anime, and playing video games, just stories in general. Brainstorming possible outcomes will always be something I love to do, and I found that in Kingdom Hearts. I hope to accomplish two things in this video. The first is to rank these games and explain why I have certain games placed in a certain spot. And number two, I hope to convince you to try one of these games if you haven't already. I promise I wasn't really into the story at first, but it didn't take long for me to become captivated with the world that Tetsuya Nomura created. So at the bottom of my list, I have Kingdom Hearts Coded, or as most of us call it, Kingdom Hearts Recoded. Kingdom Hearts Coded released on mobile phones in November of 2008, and it picks up right after Kingdom Hearts 2. At the time of its release, I think this game was pretty essential, but now the game feels very nugatory. As far as the story, 90% of it doesn't matter. Each world plays a little differently, and instead of it feeling refreshing, it feels clunky. As a game, you don't need to play it. Take a couple of hours, watch the cutscenes, and move on. Next, I have Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep Point 2, A Fragmentary Passage. If Recoded didn't exist, this game is 100% at the bottom of this list. These two games are much worse than the lower quality games in this franchise. The story is new and important because Aqua's time in the Realm of Darkness is crucial to understanding what happened after the end of Birth by Sleep, but this game is virtually a Kingdom Hearts 3 demo, as it plays just like it and it's only a couple hours long, which for a Kingdom Hearts game is short. This is another game I'd suggest watching the cutscenes for. Alright, now we're taking a noticeable leap in quality. At number 10 I have Melody of Memory. And this is the first game in what I believe to be Act 2 of Kingdom Hearts because it seems like we're finally done with Xehanort. It's another short game in comparison to the rest of the series, but because of its unique gameplay, I don't have too big of a problem with that. As you can guess from the title, the game centers around music. The only other time we saw music-based gameplay is with Atlantica, and Melody of Memory does it so much differently. It's a very laid-back experience with some good story. My only issue is that it's priced like a full game. The first half of the story is a recap of Act 1, reminding us players how long this ride has been and how we've gotten here, but the second half is key. Because of his actions in Kingdom Hearts 3, Sora has been displaced. This game explores Kairi and Xehanort's story more in depth and even shows us a pre-Kingdom Hearts 1 Xehanort. Overall, a solid game that I think does a sufficient job of building anticipation for the next game in the series. In November of 2004, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories was released for the Game Boy Advance and the PlayStation 2. I'm personally not a fan of Chain of Memories. I don't like the whole card thing, but if you're new to the series, I would suggest playing this game. This is the first game that explores replicas and gives us a true introduction to Organization 13 and Castle Oblivion, arguably the most important location in the entire series. The card types are attack, magic, and item, and there isn't a new move introduced, but this game is absolutely crucial to the story. In terms of just story alone, Chain of Memories is much higher than 9th. Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance was released for the 3DS in 2012. The only notable gameplay change for me was the addition of flow motion, which is one of my favorite mechanics in the series. I love that kind of movement, but for the story, things start to get crazy. To me, this is where Sora really started to become reckless, and in terms of understanding and following the story, this game made it very difficult. 358 over 2 days gives the fanbase a much more in-depth look into one of the franchise's most popular characters in Roxas. We get to see how tough life was for him as a member of the organization. It's the first 3D handheld Kingdom Hearts game, so it played in a similar fashion to the numbered installments of the series, but the game is called 358 over 2 days. 358 represents how long Roxas was a member of the organization. The 2 represents the story following 2 characters. Of course there's Roxas, but there's also Xion, another member of the organization who felt used and struggled with their identity. Both of their stories are actually quite sad, the ending especially. If you're a fan of a more emotional story, you'll enjoy this game. Oh my goodness, the Union Cross story expands the world of Kingdom Hearts like no other game has. In terms of storyline, this is number 1, and it isn't even close to me. It created and resolved so many mysteries, it provided context to virtually everything we see in every other game, and even created the hype for games coming in the future. The only issue is that this game was mainly for mobile devices, and segments of its story were released over a long period of time. So parts of the story should be watched before some games and after said games. And the further we get removed from the Union Cross story, the harder it will be to experience the story the right way. This is recoded, but good. The game just ended its online service this year, so you'll have to watch the cutscenes, but it's worth it. At number 5, I have the game that started it all, and I think it did a great job of setting a standard for the series. The gameplay isn't the best, but it's good, and I can say that it was built upon going forward. I think this game in particular does the best job of putting you in the world of Kingdom Hearts. Its story was so foreign to anything I had experienced before, so I was dragged in quickly. There are a couple worlds that really annoy me, but for the most part, this is a really good game that gives just the right amount of story to stay engaged, but to also theorize and have the desire to continue the series. Okay, so back cover isn't a game, but I felt the need to have it on here because I like it so much. It's on the same level of Union Cross in terms of the importance of events before Kingdom Hearts 1. The storytelling is on point, I love the mystery. It's important to watch back cover because it provides the context you'll need to understand the big surprise in the following game. Now for the top 3. In my opinion, Birth by Sleep is the hardest game in the franchise. It introduces some fan favorite characters with the original trio. Well, is Aqua a fan favorite? Let me know in the comments if you like Aqua. Anyway, this game is the first time we see a Roxas lookalike, a Sora lookalike, and the real Xehanort in action. And we're finally given the reason to why his Nobody and Heartless look the way they do. This game features even younger versions of Sora, Riku, and Kairi, and as a player, you realize that this journey they've been on started much earlier than we thought. As far as gameplay goes, it's pretty similar to Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3, but you get to play as 3 different characters. Birth by Sleep is also the first time we see D-Link, which is just another version of summoning. When I first played Kingdom Hearts 3, I couldn't believe my eyes. As a gamer, I was aware of the jokes surrounding the franchise due to how large the gap was between Kingdom Hearts 2 and 3, but I wasn't thinking about that as I was playing these games. I played the whole series in a span of 3 months, so the graphics jump was jarring, but in a good way. Visually, this game is beautiful. The character designs, the worlds, man, I even enjoyed the gummy ship missions for the first time. The story may not have been Union Cross level, but it was straightforward-ish and wrapped up Act 1 of Kingdom Hearts in a big way. The big war that was 15 years in the making finally happens and it doesn't disappoint. Sora is finally held responsible for his actions and leads the story into the next act. Shoot, I even enjoyed cooking. So why is this game not number 1? The combat. I had 2 main gripes with the combat system. I love that flow motion made its way into this game, but I don't like that the whole game feels floaty. At times, that feeling would eliminate the worry I'd have in other games because all I had to do is double jump and I'm clear of all danger. The grounded nature of Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 is missed in this game. And the second issue I have is with the Disney attractions. I just think they were a bad idea. There was no need for them. They were distracting, took up too much of the screen, and felt very clunky. I know you don't have to use them, but I swear every time I saw the splash run come up, I kinda wanted to turn my game off. When I play Kingdom Hearts, I want to fight with just me, my magic, and my Keyblade. But outside of that, I love this game and it has some really good DLC. If you've played all of these games, you shouldn't be surprised by this. At the number 1 spot is Kingdom Hearts 2. I think this game is responsible for the deification of the Kingdom Hearts series. This game made me fall in love with this convoluted story. The Ansem reports created so much mystery, and as a result, my intrigue for this story went to a whole new level. It isn't as visually pleasing as Kingdom Hearts 3, but that's to be expected as the game came out 2 console generations earlier. The worlds in this game are my favorite set, but what separates this game from the rest is the actual gameplay. I think it's the best the series has to offer, and it isn't close at all. 2 has the most fluid and best choreographed combat, and they aren't as easy to pull off in comparison to other games. You need a certain level of skill to beat certain enemies, and it becomes very apparent in the content after the main story. The data fights give you a pretty good challenge, but to get there you have to time certain movements correctly, and it can be troublesome. Once you get past that, you get to this hallway unlike any other in the series and fight the strongest nobodies the game has to offer, including these the Poundomorphs and the Thromos. It makes no sense how much damage they do, and if you get bored with the data fights, don't worry, Sephiroth and Lingering Will have no problem keeping you occupied for some time. This is one of my 10 favorite games ever, and it's the high point of this series, no question. Okay, now before this video is over, I think it's best to explain the release of these games. As you've seen, there are technically 12 different Kingdom Hearts games, all varying in the length of the game, platforms they've been released on, and the characters the stories are centered around. But every installment is important to the overall story. If you skip over just one of these, you are bound to be even more confused than you already will be. And Nomura made it even more confusing for us by releasing the games in an interesting order, to say the least. Like, this is the order of the games in terms of in-world events. And here you can see it next to the order that the games are released in. It's all over the place. Only 2 of these games were released in the real world and happened in the games world in the same sequential order. Not to toot my own horn, but I think I've got a pretty good idea of how one should experience this legendary series. I've been told by multiple people who've played the series that this order here would have made their playthrough a lot less confusing. You don't have to play the games in this order. The beauty of video games is that you can play however you want to. I'm just trying to save people from a level of confusion no one should have to go through. And that's it for this video. Once again, if you enjoyed this video or any of my other ones, why don't you hit that like button and subscribe? I get closer and closer to my goal of 1,000, and you get more great content like this. It's a win-win if you ask me. With that being said, this is Big Toon, and thanks for watching. Y'all have a good one.